like to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Sharad Agarwal, who is Head IT Services at Orange India. He heads the Managed Services pre-sales for Orange India and is responsible for propagating cloud computing technology in India. Sharad has more than 15 years IT consulting, pre-sales, business development experience in India and the US. He has worked with several leading companies, including GTL Limited, TIA Commerce, and Canon USA. He specializes in the area of cloud computing, business development, IT consulting, and e-governance. And the topic that he would be talking to us about is pragmatic approach to enterprise cloud. Mr. Agarwal, please take over.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for staying so long and still being alive here to listen to me. I really appreciate that. What I'm talking about here is, and most of speakers who have come before me have already strengthened that fact, is that there is really, it's not a question about whether there should be a cloud or there should not be a cloud. The cloud or no cloud, that story or that question is all over. And it all is actually a conversation or a talk about how exactly your enterprise or your organization can adopt to the cloud. The benefits of the cloud, whether be it the flexibility, whether be it the elasticity, whether be it the agility to take it to the next layer, to help your organization build up, that's all discussion is over, I believe. It's all about when really to start this discussion in your enterprise, because the adoption is still, I believe, is very low. As most of the speakers earlier have also talked about it, that whether still there are lots of organizations across the world may be looking for the cloud and may have done something, but then it's still majority of the organizations are still to go and adopt the cloud in a big way. So the very first question that comes is that when is the right time to really adopt to the cloud? And the drivers that the way we have seen is could come from, of course, two different sources. One is the internal IT department itself, and second is from the business. Now, the business units will, of course, be finding it more and more competitive in the market when the cloud is being adopted by their competition, and their competition are able to offer the services which are agile, which are elastic, and which are really flexible. And then if these business units themselves are facing those challenges, then they will definitely demand the same thing, and they are demanding the same kind of elasticity, flexibility, and agility from their own IT department. If IT department is able to fulfill those agility, great. Otherwise, these units could also go out and take the cloud service provider on their own without the help of IT. And that is what we have also seen in some of the customers. And some of the customers have organizations we are speaking to or have spoken to, they have talked about that they do not necessarily need the IT department or the CIO for adopting to the cloud. They can go out in the market and choose a provider who can offer them the business process as a service, or can take the whole business process and offer them the complete flexibility there. That is one part. But then they also agree to a fact that in such scenarios, even if they go out and look into provider in the market, they will still need some technical help from CIO to qualify that provider. The second challenge or the second driver will, of course, come from the IT department itself. If there is a scenario where you have a technical refresh being planned, then, of course, this is a good time that you can start thinking about the cloud and look into the consolidation of the data centers or consolidation of your infrastructure and look for the new delivery models and the service models that are offered by the cloud. Or there are some new initiatives being taken, the new business being, or new businesses being set up, or the new business line being taken. In that scenario also, it will be a good idea to take it. Once you have the when question answered, then it's really about the assessing, the assessment, and the previous speakers have spoken in the length about the fact that how the assessments could be done. And every organization have this assessment methodology. You will have some methodology on your own. The one thing that we discovered from some of our customers, that they say that they do not necessarily need an expert or the cloud expert to do that assessment, but they definitely need a technical expertise to ensure that they are able to assess the fact that what application or what infrastructure they can optimize or what they can take to the cloud. Of course, anything that is goes on the cloud or any assessment that happens, it has to go through all the assessments cycles, and that these are the exact steps I believe have already been spoken by some of the some of the speakers earlier. Some of the specific pointers that I have on when you're going on assessment, what all things to check for. First part of the assessment, when the business units themselves have decided to go for the cloud infrastructure or the cloud service from the market, that piece is over. That piece we have talked about already. But within the business processes, there are applications. Those applications can also be taken to the cloud or cannot be taken to the cloud. So the very first assessment has to happen at the application layer. Which applications can be customized or can be modified, or the business processes that they are serving, those business processes themselves can be taken to the cloud. For an example, things could be like the low-hanging fruits people always find in the messaging system, or unified communications, or taking the whole thing as a service. That could be one of the applications that could be taken in the cloud without disrupting too much of the things already happening in the system. Or even the service management piece. There are multiple service providers in the market who are offering service management platforms on the cloud. After this assessment, normally you will find 2 or 3 categories of applications. The applications that are core to your system and you can never take them out, or you have some resistance for that. Second type of application, which are supporting the business processes that you can take, that are not so critical and that you can take into the cloud using the cloud-based application and basically phase the application out that you are using right now. And the third type of application that you can virtualize or you can modify and use within your system after the virtualization with some elasticity. Second piece, of course, is once the applications are done, then on what infrastructure they will be running, what type of infrastructure you need for that in terms of computing, storage, virtualization. And then the most important piece comes is after all pieces you have put together, whether your network is ready to take care of it. Our own assessment says quite a lot of savings that you will achieve by virtualizing or moving to the cloud may be offset to some extent by the network utilization that will increase, or some of the network requirements that you will have. And this is also a critical piece. Some of the customers we spoke to said, okay, cloud is a good story. However, in case my network itself is not reachable, if some of the locations there itself are not on the network, then the cloud story doesn't work for them. So that is the one piece that also need to be evaluated. And then all pieces around the security and the contracts and the business and HR impact. And then, of course, on the service management, how the service management processes will be there around it. Now, once it is done, then of course it is about choosing a cloud provider. What are the benefits, or you should look into the cloud provider, or what are the key characteristics you should look into the cloud provider. One thing is very clear is that about the speed. Earlier, Lux spoke about the fact that it is possible that within 24 hours something can be implemented. And of course, we have also seen, and many of our customers believe, that the speed is very important. The speed with which a application can be ported, and a cloud process the whole process can be implemented, that is very important. And they believe that, of course, there is a scenario, and there is likely to be a scenario where application could be ported from one part to another part on the fly. Security, scalability, and of course the network stability and reliability. The network will be very important piece here, and it is really important that the network spreads across the continent and it has these grids that are connecting the whole infrastructure. Specifically, I'm pointing out here an infrastructure that the Orange Business Services has across the world, that it spreads across 170 countries and all these data centers where the cloud is hosted, the cloud infrastructure is hosted, and an infrastructure as a service is being provided. Again, some of the characteristics about the cloud provider, end-to-end services. Once you have chosen a cloud provider, I believe it will be very hard to change it very often. So it is important that the end-to-end services that the cloud services provider can provide, that will be a very important piece. And of course, ability to provide the dedicated platform for your services, for your requirement. Some of the things based on this knowledge, based on this approach only, what we have delivered from Orange Business Services side. This is a company, actually a worldwide presence, that has a worldwide presence, and it's a luxury brand company. They had this trigger that 2 years back, they wanted to consolidate their 4 data centers located in Asia Pacific region. And for that, they have done the full assessment that how and what kind of applications they should take and first virtualize, and then after the virtualization, put it into a kind of an infrastructure that if there is a kind of an elastic requirement where scalability is required, they could take it. So they decided on hosting it with us, and then these 4 data centers consolidated into one piece of the data center, and that is hosted out of Singapore. And truly the cloud, the piece that here is that while the whole infrastructure is a private cloud, but it still has that utility-based model where if they have those peaks, where have those elastic requirements of more storage or more processing requirement, that can be taken care of, and they can pay it for on a per usage basis. Similarly, this is a chemical industry company based out of France. There was a statistic put by somebody today that close to 70 to 80% of the organizations do not back up their desktops. And that is where this company has chosen backup as a service from Orange. And we have been able to provide them numerous amount of data space where they can store their backups. And the third piece, the last one, is about the same luxury brand company who wanted to provide to their stores flexibility to choose as many applications as they wanted, and in case if they are deploying a new application, those applications could be available to those stores on an immediate basis. For that, they've chosen this product, where Orange Business Services infrastructure gets connected with a public cloud provider infrastructure where the application stores are, and those application stores provide those applications that can be given to, provided to this company on demand, on a pay-per-use model. Now, so that's the last slide from my side. What all things we are seeing in the market, and what do we see? Basically, the main pointers. One is that the cloud is definitely being adopted in a big way, and then it can be adopted directly by the business units as well. But then the technical team is likely to play a big role as well. And then private or public, anything is possible on that. So what we had for them is actually based on our platform of VMware, EMC, and Cisco. And they also had lots of proprietary systems. And what we provided to them is actually consolidation of their complete systems into one of these platforms, what we could virtualize. And what we could not virtualize have been kept exactly the same. For example, if they had the AS400 servers as well, they also been brought into this place. But then the storage, the virtualization, and then at the same time the network security piece, that all put together was created the cloud platform. And the elasticity offered to them was that when they need more processing power, more storage system, that is what they can ask for on demand.
I have a question. So, in the context of India, do you see broadband penetration and quality of service as an issue for companies in tier 2 kind of cities for you to provide the services?
Yeah, that will certainly be an issue because many of the customers who we have also spoken about, for them, they have specified this as a special concern where if the network access is not there, then it's an issue. But at the same time, there are quite a few opportunities in the market, and we are also speaking to one specific scenario in the health sector, where the health sector, the digitization of diagnostics have not been done very nicely in Indian market, and there is immense amount of opportunity for the health instrument or health system providers to go to tier 1, 2, or 3 cities and bring on their equipments and provide the diagnostic centers a way to provide these diagnostic capabilities, MRI scans or X-rays in a better way. But these being the expensive items, they had been looking into the models where they could minimize these investments, and they are actively looking into a cloud-based model. And these kind of things, I would say that should drive that perception also, that once these things start happening in a big way, and the health sector, I believe it will happen very soon, that people having concern about broadband or the network not being reachable in certain places will go away.
Any more questions? Okay, then I'd like to thank Mr. Agarwal. And Mr. Agarwal, a small